Hi, everybody. Coming to you 3:13 on what is a beautiful first day of June. By the way, if you're wondering what's up with Rod's face, on the back end of kind of a maintenance procedure for some ongoing skin cancer issues, just stuff I have to keep on top of. Really, no problems, just kind of a hassle, if you will, and should start to heal out of all of this over the weekend or at least into next week. So there's that. I apologize for my my lack of good appearance. All right, here's the sun. It has been clear at the coast all day. There's Depot Bay from the Channel House, Gerhardt by the Sea, looking back at Tillamooked, the Gorge, Gresham, Willamette Valley, Domain Serene. These are all my live camera networks. Over in Sun River Resort, there's a chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms. In fact, we're seeing it in South Central Oregon today. That's Klamath County, Lake County, but everything is expected to stay south of Sun River. That's the back of the lodge looking at Bachelor. You can see they're just having sunshine. Clear over the Cascades for the most part. Mount Hood Oregon Resort up in Welch's. There's the Oregon Garden out in the Gorge, Indian Creek Golf Course. The Three Sisters staying dry from Aspen Lakes Golf Course. More gorge shots in at Otter Crest down in Lincoln County. Beautiful, just south of Depot Bay. So yeah, fabulous, fabulous way to start the first part of June. Our temperature is pretty much on average today for the first day of June. So that's working out well. Remember, the last couple days have been in the 60s. 2 days ago it was 69, Portland and Salem. Yesterday it was 67, Portland and Salem. Here are the current temperatures now. 70 in Portland, the same in Salem, 68 in Vancouver. Again, these would be the 3 o'clock afternoon temps. If you look on the map, kind of a mix of 60s and 70s, but really beautiful weather. Northwest winds to about 10 miles per hour out there. We saw the beautiful live cameras at the coast. 66 in Lincoln City, 60 in Astoria, 61 in Newport. Not expecting anybody to warm up much more this afternoon than you see there, but certainly beautiful weather. I'm going to come back to that. Here's the Gorge. Cascade Lock, 64. Stevenson across the river, of course. Hood River running the same as Portland at 70, 75 out in the Dalles, or ODOT camera, or the airport camera, not available right now. Not as windy out in the Gorge as it has been. Last couple of days, they'd seen some west gust 20 to 30 miles per hour. It's been more like 15 mile per hour winds that I've seen reported today. By the way, this is off of my weather site, portlandweather.com. And one thing I love about it is, if you're going out to the Gorge, there's a complete weather page on the Gorge. There's the forecast for the West Gorge. 74 today, 78 Saturday, 80 on Sunday. Similar pages just for the coast, just for the Cascades over Mount Hood. So really great, great information. Again, 75 out in the Dalles, 71 up at Crown Point. If it were windy, we would click on that and we get some wind reports for you. So today's weather is great. And as I'm going to show you in a moment, the 7-day just goes on with sunshine and dry weather with some gradual warming into the weekend. Really, the big weather headline today is the fact that the climate report and the weather records for May have been released by the National Weather Service. So if you click on my weather headlines link, you can read this entire write-up that I'm going to take you through right now. These are what I would consider to be the main topics, kind of the headline categories, if you will. So May for Portland site-specific, PDX, went on to have the warmest mean temperature in the record book. So the warmest May mean temperature that we've ever seen, the PDX records go back to 1941. 64.3, that broke the old record by a full degree. And again, the mean is kind of the average of all the temperatures, the high and the low throughout the entire month. How about number of 80-degree days? Never had a May with 11 80-degree days in it since PDX started keeping records. Now we have. How about number of 90-degree days? 5. Never had that many before. Wow. How about a record for consecutive dry days? Remember, we did this yesterday. May 31st was the 16th straight day of no rain, not a drop, out at the airport. That's a new record. How about total days with no rain? They don't have to be together, but just any day in the month that didn't have rain. 25 of the 31 days in May, no rain. That's the driest May, looking at it that way, that we've ever had. And let me just read you a little bit about what I wrote here. So the final temperature report for the month of May also shows that the average just high temperature was 75.5 degrees. That was 6 degrees above normal, but only good enough for second place all time, by the way. Now, the average low came in at 53.1. Guess what? New all-time record. It was the warmest low temperature average for the month of May since PDX started keeping records back in 1941. So this is just crazy stuff, how many records we're setting. You know, there were a whole fistful of daily temperature records, right? So here they are, some daily high temperatures. This was that 90-degree run on May, 90 degrees on the 12th, 93 on the 13th, 92 on the 14th, all records. And then the high temperature on the 15th was 92. That was not a record, but it did set the record for the first time in May we've ever had 4 consecutive 90-degree days in a row. And then we went on to have another 90-degree day for a total of 5, right? The record for consecutive 80-degree days was set at 9, which I mentioned up there in the graphic. How about the record high-low temperature for overnight numbers last month? It was the warmest night in the record books on the 13th. On the 14th as well. The morning of the 14th, it was 62 degrees, and it never dropped below 62 through that 24-hour calendar day. That tied for the warmest overnight low temperature that we've ever had in May. There were other records for high-low temperatures, we call them. Now, it should be noted that the low total precipitation, we only had 0.91 inches of total moisture in the month of May, only 0.91. Believe it or not, that did not even come close to making the top 5 list of driest Mays. We've actually had a May that only had 1/10 of an inch. We had another one that only had 1/4 of an inch. So while that was only 36% of normal rainfall, and most of that came in the first 8 days of the month, nowhere close to any records there. Of course, these are the records kept by the National Weather Service. So basically, the majority of records had anything to do with warm to hot weather, both during the day and at night. And the records for how many days didn't have rain, all those fell. The only category that we didn't really set a record for the most part would be anything that has to do with cold temperatures, right? So that was just crazy. Wow. We expected May, you may recall, to be the month that turned it around, right? We'd get out of the cold, wet weather of April. Didn't see the extremity that we would do in terms of getting out of that with that weather change pattern. So here's the 7-day, and I mentioned not only is it dry, but it's all sunny. This is more of what you would expect to see in July, right? A dry 7-day that is also all sunny. So here we go. Today we're going to be 73, 74 for high, probably tomorrow a little bit warmer, 78, but still staying in the 70s. And then I've got 81, 83 over the weekend. And then I've got warmer numbers, 86 Monday. I am back to showing a 90-degree temperature on Tuesday, but just for one day. It's still warm on Wednesday, 87, and then Thursday, 84, and then still in the 80s, it looks like, on Friday. There's no real great look at any mountain thunderstorms next week, right now anyway, that would lead to maybe some valley showers or thunderstorms. And I talked about this yesterday. If you look at the weather models, they basically show 1 or 2 chances of any rain through about the first 16, 17, 18 days of June. They're really dry. So all indications at this point are that for June, starts today, over the next 29 days, we'll be doing well to get an inch of rain. We may not make it. And if that's the case, then I think we're going to look back and we're going to say this year's dry season really started around May 9th, May 10th. And we're off and running. So that's not great news because the length of the dry season is the biggest indicator in terms of if you're going to have a bad fire season or not. Now, I've talked that most of the smoke the last couple of days has been over in Central Oregon, and nearly all of that smoke, in fact, maybe all of it, has been from prescribed burns intentionally set by Deschutes National Forest as they try to, lead the way to being aggressive, to doing what they can to manage and lower fire risk moving forward into the heart of the summer. Anyway, that's it. Again, this is my weather site, portlandweather.com. We'll see what tomorrow brings. It looks like a sunny day. Forecasting 78 for your Friday. I'll talk to you soon.